Let's talk some Cavs, though, because Game 1 was awesome. Game 2 is tonight. In the first hour over on the WKYC Plus app, we talked about if Game 1 changed your outlook on the series. We all agreed the Cavs look dominant. It's what we expected, especially with Emmanuel quickly out. So now let's talk about tonight's Game 2. Jay Crawford, what adjustments do you expect from either side? You could take it from a Toronto perspective or a Cleveland perspective tonight in Game 2 that may make it look a little different than Game 1.
I don't think it's going to look different. I don't. I think it's going to look very similar to Game 1. The one thing that was a bit of a surprise, I didn't expect it would be 31-31 late in the first quarter. I think the Cavs kind of figured out some things. Toronto hit some threes. That's not who they are. We know that the Cavs' perimeter defense being porous is who they are. So I was somewhat concerned about that. And then early on when they hit some threes, I'm like, oh, don't tell me we're going to turn Toronto into this Boston Celtics three-point shooting team. They made the adjustments. They locked it down. They really looked good in the third quarter. That's when they sort of turned it on and pulled away. I hope we continue to get the aggressive play inside. In the first hour of the show, we talked about the value of James Harden, who, by the way, this is a legacy year for him. Like, the ink on his resume right now is bad for the playoffs.
Yeah.
He would love more than any, and so with Donovan Mitchell. Donovan Mitchell's never taken a team to a conference finals. These guys have some things to prove, and my hope is that together, because they have a unified mission, they're fighting for each other's playoff legacy right now. He did exactly what we expected him to do, what his reputation was. His ability to penetrate and find the open man, particularly bigs, is just uncanny. Mm-hmm. And he looked like regular season James last night or on Saturday, and hopefully he can continue to do that, not just against Toronto, because they're going to see tougher teams. Who knows what's going to happen in that Detroit-Orlando 8-1 matchup. But based on what we saw in Game 1, Detroit could be the fool's gold we thought, and Cleveland could face an Orlando team that always gives us trouble. Mm-hmm. But that's where I'm going to really start judging the Cavs and this playoff run, because I don't know that we're going to learn much.
I think there's a couple things with adjustment. If you're Toronto, Toronto came into this series and they got a lot of points off fast breaks and turnovers, and the game was way too in the favor of what Cleveland wants to do. I think that they saw that, if you got the new look Cavs, you now have a guy like James Harden who can give you points. You also have Donovan Mitchell, who just always, playoff Donovan is different. He's going to give you 30 a game. He's one of the greatest scorers in the history of the playoffs. In Game 1s, he comes back and hits you for 30. I think what they started to see is this is a new type of beast, because James Harden still, had 27 points. However, some of the things that he was able to do to get the bigs involved, you can't give him both. So on the pick and roll, I don't like the way they was handling the pick and roll. I would move Scotty Barnes on James Harden, and I would make him do either one or two things. I would rather James Harden ISO and dribbling the clock down and shooting tough contested step backs, rather than getting into the lane and probing and getting guys like Evan Mobley, as you see right here, dunking the basketball. So I think they'll try to get more fast break points, because they're not a great shooting team. They had a pretty good shooting performance yesterday or a day ago, whenever the game was Saturday. And I think that might be one of their best shooting performances. So for the Cavs, I think it's continued more of the same. If Max Strus is going to give you 22 points and hit shots like that and be aggressive, it's going to be very difficult for them to win, because they can't give up that plus Strus and Mobley.
Yeah, Jay, I'm not going to challenge you when you call it a legacy year for Harden. I'm just going to hone in on it a little bit. Legacy month, hopefully 2 months.
Okay.
Right here and now. And I thought in Game 1, you give him almost an A+, right? Playing at his own pace, comfortable with the ball in his hand.
I still want to see him in a Game 7.
No doubt. No doubt. But I'm saying he understands this.
Yeah.
And I thought just the early vibe. This is not really a concern. This is something I'm curious about. Garbage time was garbage time. This game was long over. The Cavs played 10 guys in the rotation. It seems a bit much.
They won't do that in the next round.
No, they won't. And some of it, I think, is organic, because they played the whole year with never having their guys.
Right.
And Max Strus, who came out guns a-blazing, we didn't see it all until the last month of the season. So I'm curious as to how that gets pared down, and then if it is a better game tonight. I mean, they were laughing by 8 minutes left in the third quarter.
Right.
But if we're in a tight game tonight with 6 minutes left, Who are the 5? Who are the 6?
Yeah.
Who's guarding Scotty Barnes? Things like that we just haven't seen yet.
Zach, I think it bodes well if that happens. I'm not impressed with front running. I want to see close and late.
Sure.
And because that's where your DNA makeup comes out. The one thing about Donovan Mitchell's playoff numbers, I'm sure you guys remember early in Michael Jordan's career, before he figured out that you win championships with a team, that one guy just can't say jump on my back. As much as LeBron tried to do it forever, couldn't do it. There were times when he finally broke through with Cleveland that he had to do it, but for a series it has to be a village. And the one thing that I think makes me excited about this playoff run that I've never felt with Donovan as the guy here was that it was Donovan and maybe Darius if he was healthy. And there were always key injuries. Jarrett Allen missing large stretches of games. He was game to game for a month, it seems. Right. What I like about having James Harden here is he's a dog. He is a proven dog, not necessarily deep in the playoffs, but he's a guy that you can lean on at closing time. So if it's not Donovan's night, it doesn't mean an L. It just means that, tonight it's going to be James driving the bus. Right. And I never felt that Darius, even though Darius did have some explosive performances, I never felt Darius was able to step up if Donovan was having a bad series or a couple of games and tell the team, get on my back. I do feel like James Harden can do that.
McNuggets, you know what was alarming? Even more so in the playoffs than the regular season. I don't know if you feel like you saw this as well. Like they done scrapped everything. Like it's all James Harden. It's all like James Harden has the rock, and it's up to him what they're gonna do. And everybody seems to see if they've bought into it. Donovan, he defers. He says if I need to get it because I feel the momentum slipping, he'll get it in ISO and do his thing and get to the rack. But the offense is James Harden.
Yeah. Well, do you remember James Harden's famous quote? "I don't play a system. I am the system." Well, the Cavaliers.
Are you getting Mikey?
Yeah.
I lost you in IFB.
The Cavaliers have adapted to what James Harden does best. And in terms of adjustments in Game 2, Toronto, as you can see in some of these clips, they play drop coverage with Podol. There's no way that's going to work. I don't know if that was a Game 1 we don't have quickly. Let's just see what Cleveland does. We're going to throw it out there. To me, that's coaching malpractice, frankly, to put Podol, who's not the same athletic player he was back. Not that he was ever a super athlete, but he's kind of older, dealing with back issues. Him and drop with Harden and Mitchell turning to Hill, it gives them no chance at all. Scrap that. They also picked up in some of these clips. Steve, you want to start it over? Is it possible? Look how high they're kind of picking up Don and James in some of these. They're pressuring, but not fully pressuring. I think you have to either fully commit to making this a dogfight brawl and pick up 94 feet, or don't really pick up that. Look how high they're picking up James. So look how much room they're leaving Podol to have to guard Jarrett Allen on a roll and Harden up top.
It leaves the basket wide open.
It makes no sense to me. They either have to go full commit or picking up 94 feet. We're going to make you work to get into your offense, or let's sit back and if you want to bomb 28 feet jump shots, go ahead. If you beat us that way, you beat us that way.
Right.
That in between, I don't understand. And then from a Toronto standpoint, all they've talked about in the 2 days afterwards was Brandon Ingram only took 9 shots. We have to get him more involved offensively. We have to make him more of a focal point. If that was their number one takeaway from what happened in Game 1, and that's the reason they think they lost, then this may be over in 4 games. Like, this may be a 3-game series, and they just happen to play a 4th for the sake of play.
Wow.
If that is what they think was the issue in Game 1, not involving Brandon Ingram enough, then they are totally missing the point of what happened in Game 1 and all their shortcomings defensively.
I mean, if they think that Brandon Ingram and contested long twos is going to beat you, all right, that's what's up. Like
exactly.
Even if he's killing you, like that means he's knocking down a 17 to 18-foot jumper with a contested hand late in the shot clock. You're like, all right, cool. Yeah. That's what's up.
Yeah. I think the Raptors got a lot of issues, and I think most of them stem from just being outmanned. Mike, you pointed it out. Portal's just not the same player. He doesn't move the way he used to. And I'm not going to try to pronounce his name, Mamo, the backup big guy.
Yeah,
gave him some good
I'm
minutes through
not
the year. He looked like a G leaguer out there on Saturday. Yeah. Like he can't keep up with this. The Cavs have a lot of firepower, and if they don't self-destruct, they're going to win this series in 4 or 5 games.
I will say this: I'm NBA basketball to me in the playoffs is must watch. I mean, the level at which these guys, people, the regular season, I get it. The regular season, people can say it annoys people they don't play. But when you watch these games in the playoffs, I mean, C.J. McCollum just lost his mind yesterday. I mean, it's regular guys. Like, just the level of play, the atmosphere. I watched all of these games, and I will say, I couldn't help but look at the doggone Boston Celtics. I mean, these dudes, man. These guys, I mean.
They're going to be a tough out.
I mean, these dudes, like, they're not missing. Like, they're just not missing. And Tatum's out back here. I don't understand how he came back that fast. He's dunking the basketball. It looks like
like he never missed time.
He's never missed no time. Yeah. So it's gonna be.
And their strength is our kryptonite.
It is. So
and that's what scares me most. I don't think it'd be a worse matchup for them.
I'm just hoping that the Cavs can work together and get the chemistry to kind of work themselves into that level where they need to be to beat some of these other teams.
Yeah.
Moving down the stretch, but it's a good start for what the Cavs is doing. I'll learn a lot in Game 2 because the Cavs. I don't want to see them taking their foot off the pedal, especially given the fact that you got James Harden, Donovan Mitchell talked about it last year about how they came into it, thought they had the best record, had an opportunity, and then was out in the second round. I want to see what they do today and really put their foot down and get these dudes off the sticks quick.
The saying is the series doesn't start until a road team wins a game.
Yep.
I think the series will start Game 3 in Toronto when the Cavs go up there and win Game 3. The one thing you mentioned about the difference between regular season and playoffs and why I love playoff basketball so much is because in the regular season I just feel like it's sort of, I don't want to call it pickup, but I just feel like it's athletes out there just playing like an exhibition.
Yeah.
But in the playoffs, an element of chess gets added. And that's where I think you can separate the great athletes and the thoroughbreds. What's going on upstairs for the head coaches? And I hate to pick on JB when he's down, but when you watch what Orlando did and what JB and the Pistons didn't do,
they had nothing.
It's an indictment on what finally I think got him run out of Cleveland.
Yeah, that part is probably the most intriguing thing of tonight, especially the first half in Cavs Toronto, because once you get to Game 4 or 5, you've done everything schematically.
Sure, right.
But tonight, Toronto can come out and change.
They could, and I think they will.
Right, the Cavs can come and change who they set things. Or we think Harden's going to have the ball all the time, but you don't know. There's still a feeling out. So that's interesting tonight. So if Toronto can make some defensive changes and hit some shots early, then maybe they do say, hey, if Ingram just scores a little more, we can get some momentum and keep it. I don't know. I see a major talent and depth, specifically mismatch here in this series.